I've worked at Nando's for as long as I can remember, and never did I imagine that a place so famous for its chicken could turn into a house of horrors. It was a prestigious restaurant, known for its exquisite ambiance, succulent dishes, and impeccable service. But beneath the facade of grandeur lurked a darkness I could never have fathomed. My name is Alex, and I was a waiter at Nando's. The upscale decor and soft, dim lighting of the restaurant were meant to put customers at ease, but lately something had changed. It started with a chilling whisper, an ominous breeze that would make my spine tingle as I carried trays laden with delicious food. One evening, while setting up a table near the window, I heard a soft, eerie murmur that seemed to come from the very walls of the restaurant. It was indistinct, like the rustling of dry leaves on a desolate street. I shook it off as my imagination, chalking it up to long hours and exhaustion. As days turned into weeks, the whispers grew more pronounced. At first, I thought it was the air conditioning or some faulty wiring, but the maintenance team couldn't find any issues. It was as if the very building was conspiring to keep its secrets. One night, while I was serving a couple at a corner table, the whispers escalated into something else entirely. It started with a faint, rhythmic tapping sound. It was almost like a Morse code, as if someone or something was trying to communicate. My hands shook as I placed the plates on the table. The diners noticed my unease and exchanged uneasy glances. "Is everything all right?" the woman asked. I mustered a weak smile, just a strange noise, nothing to worry about. But I was lying, and I knew it. The tapping continued, growing louder and more frenetic. It reverberated through the restaurant, drowning out the chatter of diners and clinking of cutlery. Panic crept into my voice as I tried to maintain composure. The couple decided they'd had enough and hastily paid their bill, leaving in a hurry. I wished I could do the same, but I had a job to do, and I couldn't let this inexplicable phenomenon get the best of me. Over the next few days, I began to notice other bizarre occurrences. Plates inexplicably shattered, glasses toppled off tables untouched by human hands, and the shadows in the corners of the restaurant seemed to writhe and elongate. A sense of unease settled over the staff, and we exchanged nervous glances, but no one dared to speak of the growing dread that permeated Nando's. One evening, as I was preparing to leave after a particularly grueling shift, the restaurant's manager, Mr. Turner, pulled me aside. He looked older and wearier than usual, his eyes heavy with an unspoken fear. "Alex," he said, his voice hushed, "I need you to stay late tonight." I nodded, not daring to protest. It was clear he needed all the help he could get to uncover the source of the unsettling occurrences. As the night wore on, I joined Mr. Turner and a few other staff members in a hushed gathering near the kitchen. We were determined to get to the bottom of what was happening at Nando's. But as we discussed our experiences, the whispers intensified, almost as if the restaurant itself resented our curiosity. That's when we heard a voice, distorted and incoherent, emanating from the very walls. It sent shivers down our spines. "What is that?" whispered Sarah, one of the waitresses. Mr. Turner's face was pale as he listened intently. "I don't know, but we need to find out." We followed the haunting voice, quisping through the restaurant as it seemed to lead us deeper into the shadows. It was as if the very building had a life of its own, and it was luring us into its malevolent heart. The voice led us to the basement, a place I had seldom ventured into. Its dark, narrow corridors seemed to stretch endlessly, and the air was thick with a cold, clammy presence. The voice grew louder, more agonized, and it echoed off the damp walls. As we descended deeper into the abyss, we stumbled upon a door that stood ajar. It led to a sub-basement, a place I didn't even know existed. The voice emanated from within, its source hidden in the shadows. We exchanged fearful glances, our resolve faltering. Mr. Turner, however, pushed the door open, revealing a scene that would haunt my nightmares for years to come. In the center of the sub-basement, surrounded by flickering candlelight, was a grotesque altar. On it lay a haphazard arrangement of chicken bones and feathers, along with cryptic symbols scrawled in red chalk. The voice we had been hearing seemed to be originating from a wooden ventriloquist dummy perched on the altar, its strings swaying eerily. The dummy's painted eyes met mine, and I felt a surge of terror unlike anything I had ever experienced. It was as if the very essence of evil resided within those glassy orbs. Mr. Turner was the first to speak, his voice trembling. This thing. But as he took a step forward, a malevolent force seemed to emanate from the dummy, sending him crashing to the ground. He writhed in pain, clutching his chest, as if something were squeezing the life out of him. We rushed to his side, trying to free him from the invisible grip, but it was no use. The dummy's sinister laughter echoed through the sub-basement as Mr. Turner's life was snuffed out before our eyes. We fled the basement, leant behind the nightmarish scene, but the malevolent presence seemed to follow us. The whispers grew louder, the shadows darker, and the restaurant itself seemed to come alive with a malevolent intent. As days turned into weeks, the staff at Nando's dwindled. Many resigned in fear, unable to bear the haunting experiences any longer. But a handful of us remained, determined to uncover the truth behind the cursed restaurant. We delved into the history of Nando's, searching for clues that might explain the horrors that had befallen us. What we discovered was a tale of greed and dark rituals. Decades ago, Nando's had been the site of a notorious secret society, one that dabbled in occult practices. They had used the restaurant's basement for their sinister ceremonies, invoking malevolent spirits and sacrificing innocent creatures in exchange for power and wealth. We realized that the ventriloquist dummy was a vessel for one of these malevolent spirits, bound to the restaurant by the dark rituals performed here. It craved more than just chicken. It hungered for the souls of those who dared to uncover its secrets. Desperate to rid ourselves of this cursed entity, we embarked on a perilous mission to break the spirit's hold on Nando's. Armed with ancient incantations and protective charms, we descended once more into the sub-basement. The battle that ensued was a harrowing ordeal. The spirit, angered by our intrusion, lashed out with a furious vengeance. It manipulated the very structure of the building, sending walls crashing down and filling the air with malevolent laughter. But we persevered, chanting the incantations with all the conviction we could muster. As the final words left our lips, the ventriloquist dummy convulsed, its glassy eyes shattering into a million shards. With a deafening howl, the malevolent spirit was banished, leaving behind an eerie silence that was broken only by our ragged breaths. Nando's was never the same again. The whispers ceased, the shadows receded, and the restaurant's ambiance returned to its former glory. But the horrors we had witnessed would forever haunt our memories. The few of us who remained vowed never to speak of the malevolent spirit that had once plagued Nando's. We continued to serve succulent chicken and cater to the desires of our customers, all the while carrying the weight of the restaurant's dark history. As for me, I left Nando's, unable to shake the feeling that the malevolent spirit still lingered in the shadows, waiting for its next victim. The taste of terror had forever tainted the once prestigious restaurant, and I couldn't bear to stay a moment longer in its cursed embrace. So, if you ever find yourself dining at Nando's, savoring the delectable dishes and enjoying the ambiance, remember that not everything is as it seems. Beneath the veneer of grandeur may lie a darkness that hungers for more than just your appetite. It hungers for your soul.